Well, good evening and welcome to the Ask Dr. Jenny show. It is Health and Wellness Wednesday, and we appreciate you taking time to come and join us this evening. We have a great show tonight. It is going to be so awesome. We're going to ask you right now, though, share this video out. Share, share, share. Share it to the friends, share it to the groups. We're going to be giving we're going to be going over CBD and the role of CBD with respect to anxiety, stress, how it plays a role in managing those conditions, and we're going to focus on the causes and the treatments, and it's just going to be very exciting. It's going to be a wealth of knowledge, and we want everybody to hear about this evening. And so we do thank you. And we have Dr. Jenny in the house this evening, and we're going to be taking your questions as well. So if you have questions for Dr. Jenny relating to CBD, or the cannabinoid system, and how that works, let us know. We want to answer your questions. We want to welcome you to this broadcast. And welcome, Dr. Jenny. How are you doing today?
I'm fabulous. Happy hump day, always.
Yes, it is Wednesday. It's
I look
great.
forward to our Wednesdays, Stephen.
That's awesome. I do too, as well. I've been very excited about this one here. It's going to be a great show this evening. I'm looking forward to learning a lot. It's like every time we do these shows, Dr. Jenny, I start learning more and more.
hmm
And as a result, I'm able to make good choices that are going to help me be the healthiest person I can be. And for me, that's what it's all about. If I'm
hmm
healthy and I take care of myself, then I'm going to be much better for everybody else around me. And, you know, it's a beautiful feeling, and it's enjoyable to actually be grateful for every single day. And that's where I'm at. I'm happy.
Yes, and happy is contagious. As
That's
we talked
awesome.
at one time, right? Our intentions.
It is about intentions. You're correct. And I know
hmm
that a lot of our health has to do with our intentions and our thinking. And I was just going over that and learning more this morning about how what we're thinking affects, our chemical makeup inside of it. It affects our cells, and when we're happier. And it is a frequency, it is an energy. But when we're upset and we're angry and we're mad and we don't like ourselves, well, then that's contagious too. And then that
Right. And a
doesn't feel
lot of
good.
that is neuropsychiatric disorders. And this is the hot topic right now. It's been the hot topic for many, many years. I keep mentioning about the statistics that are out there. 86 million Americans suffer from neuropsychiatric disorders that include schizophrenia, MS, Parkinson's, anxiety, stress, insomnia, even erectile dysfunction. People just think neuropsychiatric disorders as somebody that just has some form of psychosis or bipolar disorder, and that is just not true. If you're living and breathing, you have a neuropsychiatric disorder of some sort, because we live, especially in the United States, we live in such a toxic environment. And if you have little ones, if you have a husband or a wife or family members, you're going to be stressed out. You're going to be exposed to life, and life can affect and impact your psyche. So it is so crucial to take care of your brain health and know how to nourish it and know how to prevent and also help reverse, by making lifestyle choices that are functional, meaning, if you're doing something bad to your body, how do you counter modulate that? If you're eating or drinking, something bad, alcohol, for example, damages the brain. It's probably the number one toxin out there, excess of alcohol, right? I was just talking
Mhm.
to somebody I was doing an interview with. He's like, I love my beer. I have a beer every night. But he also, qualified that with, but I also exercise and have a really healthy diet, and I make sure that I get plenty of sleep and I take supplements, to make sure I'm constantly in a phase of detoxing my bad habits throughout the day. And I'm like, bam, there it is. Now you're living functionally, right? I see people asking questions already.
So awesome. Yes, if you got questions, go ahead, put them in the comments here. We are going to address your questions absolutely 100% because this is an interactive show. And we love it that way because you know what? Dr. Jenny loves to share her knowledge with others. And we like to be able, I know I'm with her on this. That's why we're together here. We like to help you become the best you can possibly be.
Yep.
this isn't an easy process, not for me anyways. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes consistency, and takes
Mhm.
dedication, but you know what? It's worth it because our lives are worth it. And we all have these seeds of greatness, and we're going to help to make those seeds of greatness bloom into great big trees of abundant fruit, right? How's
And
that?
we're worth it. You're worth it.
Yeah, we are.
You're not good to your family. You're not good to your friends if your mental state is not healthy. How many marriages have been affected? I went through a marriage, that ended up in a divorce because
Yeah.
of mental health care, issues, mental disorders, right? So how many people, just being able to take care of, hormone induced psychosis, guys going through andropause, men going, men going through andropause and females going through menopause, and then postpartum, mental health issues, women that deal with depression, and that postpartum depression is terrible. It's debilitating. And I mean, we've all been there at some point or another where we're feeling emotions and things, and we're trying to figure out what to attach it to. And then we feed ourselves negativity as opposed to, okay, I'm feeling like this. I'm feeling suicidal, or I'm feeling depressed. I have the blues, but why? Right?
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
your body. It's chemically induced. It is environmentally induced. So the side effects can be biological or they can be environmental, or taking medications. A lot of medications that people take ultimately break down something in our system. So you're masking a problem, but then you're taking from a different system of your body.
Well, we talked kind of about
We
that
got
last
Miss
night.
Gail.
It's
Mhm.
about prevention too. And do you want to go take some questions right now, Dr. Jenny?
Oh, yeah, I see
Okay.
Gail Westfall. Hi, Gail. How are
Yes.
you?
Yes, I meant to tell you about Gail prior to the broadcast here, and thank you very much for joining us this evening. I'll go ahead and she does say hello. Thank you so very much, Gail, for joining us this evening. She has
Beautiful smile.
she has experience as health and human services. And so she has offered help for us as well,
Mhm,
to make sure that I'm doing the right things with respect to this transformational center that we want to open next year for
mhm.
people here in town. And it's so exciting. And so we're so grateful to you, Gail. We're looking forward to you sharing with us and helping us along this. There's things I need to talk to you about, and we'll do that at a later point. But she's got a question here. She's been off work for 2 days, struggling with anxiety. Help, Dr. Jenny. What are you going to do about that?
Struggling with anxiety. So if this is something that just came, up the last couple of days and you weren't anxious, I would start taking some vitamin B12 or some CBD. Like today's topic, we're talking about CBD, feeding your
Hmm.
endocannabinoid system. And CBD is a non psychoactive cannabinoid in the cannabis plant. And so, but you have to remember that CBD is not just in cannabis. It's not just in the cannabis plant. Chocolate is loaded with cannabinoids, specifically CBD. So there's a reason why men want to give chocolate to their ladies, because we get calmer, we get, makes us happy. It induces that wonderful anandamide, that hormone of bliss in our body, and that's what it means. It's the Sanskrit interpretation for anandamide, meaning bliss. So you're taking a blissful hormone. So you could be deficient in CBD, and 99.9% of our consumers are deficient in cannabinoids, and they just don't even know it, specifically CBD. And you can start taking 20 to 25 milligrams every single day. The drops underneath your tongue, the oil that you hold underneath your tongue, and you get immediate relief. And
We'll
then
talk about me in a minute here.
oh, yay!
Right here.
I think I have
Yes,
mine somewhere on my desk. I got so
I
many
do
stuff.
have it. We'll talk about me in a minute because, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tell you my
See,
story after we're done talking here.
and this is another one that's super calming that helps with anxiety and depression. It's called my Serene Amino, and it's got my inositol, my GABA, L-glycine, and it's got uh, L-taurine. So those are amino acids that help calm, de-excite those neurons, and that's really what it's all about. And then looking at your diet throughout the day. What did you eat during the day? Did you load up on cappuccinos, on coffee, on too much caffeine? Because remember, a lot of the chemicals in some of these beverages can throw off your endocrine system temporarily, causing you to have a symptom of anxiety. So it's all about that homeostasis and that balance and getting to that root cause. So immediate, relief would be CBD. It's very fast acting. And then after that, testing your hormones, testing your nutrition, and testing other parts of your body, your cellular function, your neurological function, amino acids, organic acids.
And that's the important part is that
Mhm.
you want to take the test, whether it's a swab test or whether that's probably the most popular, isn't it? Because you do some testing to be able to tell exactly what that individual is going to need specific to their chemical makeup and or their
Mhm.
deficiencies, correct?
Right. And you could be dehydrated. It could be as simple as being dehydrated. So anxiety has the same, symptoms of dehydration. And I would say more than 60% of our population is massively dehydrated. When I'm looking at their cells, I'm like, well, no wonder you have anxiety. You're not getting any electrolytes or any minerals into your cells,
It can be as simple as not being hydrated, and that can bring on anxiety. That's you see, I love
Mhm.
this. I love learning every time we talk. So you're so awesome. Um, and so see, yeah, I guess I'll tell the story right now. Yeah,
Yes.
this is what I used this morning. Okay, and I've been using the tablets, but I asked, okay, what would be maybe better? All right, so I said, wow, what's going to be better? Well, apparently the oil, right?
Yep. You like the
And
oil?
and I'm liking the oil. I just started
Hmm.
using that because I've got chronic pain. I've had
Hmm.
chronic pain from a back injury back in '93,
Hmm.
and
And that's
so
full spectrum. So that would be more ideal for your pain.
it
That's a
it
full spectrum oil.
full spectrum. Can you
Hmm.
explain that too as well? Because you had told me that it has more strains in it or something
It's
of.
it's got all of the cannabinoids, including THC, but
Okay,
the legal limits without having to get your medical card,
I see.
right? And most people, that legal limits really does the trick because you got to also remember that CBD can, if the environment is correct with your microbiome and
Mhm.
enzymes, it can convert into anandamide, which is the endogenous THC. So it does have 3 milligrams of THC within that bottle. And then it's got all the other cannabinoids, the CBN, the CBG, the THCA, all of them, plus a lot of the terpenes that help enhance a lot of the benefits. So you're getting what's called the entourage effect. So you're not compromising any of the medicinal properties. So when we're extracting the medicinal properties from a plant, you're keeping everything intact. So you're getting everything. It's like eating a cannabis plant, for salad. You're getting all the benefits from it. Just like eating an orange, you're getting all the medicinal properties of an orange, right? But when you're breaking it down, we have companies that break whole foods down into dehydrated forms for individual molecules for people to take individual supplements. But I'm a huge believer of the entourage effect of everything. So I do
I
like
will
the
say,
oil for pain management, and we've had some great success with people getting off of opiates,
you see, that's awesome.
OxyContin, Percocet, hydrocodones, and taking the full spectrum oil, the high dose to 3,000 milligrams, and taking 60 to 100 milligrams every 4 hours. And within a 23-day period, my pain management doctors report that the patients are completely off of their prescription drugs. And that is huge.
That's That's really huge, especially here in Florida, where we had so many people that lost their lives, particularly young children and teenagers. Younger generation were getting their parents' painkillers and or buying them off the street and dying like leaves dropping off a tree, and it was so sad. Now, what I wanted to say is that since I started using the oil,
Hmm.
although I did take the tablets the other day, and I woke up with a headache and hurting because I wake up hurting pretty much every day. So I woke up hurting and I woke up with acidic and I took 80 milligrams on this one here.
Hmm.
And so as a result, my headache went away, which is like, wow. because it's like, if this doesn't go away, I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to go off to that ibuprofen that I've always done in the past, right? Which I know
Mm-hmm.
you told me, don't do that.
Don't
That's
do
not
it.
good. So,
And you can't
but
overdose on the CBD. That's so wonderful. It's
yeah,
fat soluble, so it stores in your fat cells. So when your body's not using it, it stores it for a rainy day. That way, your body has the tool. So when Stephen does get a headache, your body can go into your fat to release it and use it. It's like a toolbox. Your body has a natural toolbox, so you have to keep putting. You have to make sure that you have the right tools in there. So what did you report after taking 80 milligrams?
okay. So then I got rid of the headache, and the pain was far less, is what I would report. And so I mean, that would cleared a headache. And it's like, that's beautiful. And it makes me feel a little bit better. It does make me feel calmer. I take it normally right first thing after I'm waking up, I'll take it. Now with the oil,
Mm-hmm.
I've found that really does even a better job, and
Awesome.
I have to admit that
Mm-hmm.
it really does a much better job. And so it's like, you're making a believer out of me, for
Mm-hmm.
real. And
Yep.
so it is something that I believe in, and I can sit here and tell everybody that I'm using it and it works. And I'm pleased. I'm
It's the
very,
only
very
thing that touches my migraines. Stephen, I used to suffer from migraines. I mean, they
mhm,
were so, I was to the point where it's like, what's the point of living with this? I mean, my jaw would lock up. I would be throwing up. I would have light sensitivity. I couldn't have anybody talk to me because the noise was so amplified. It was like a knife in my head. It was just like, someone just shoot me now and put me out of my misery. And I was taking
right.
sumatriptan and butalbital and ibuprofen. I told you this story. I mean, I had ulcers at
Yes.
the age of 22, 23, and I couldn't even eat normal food. I'm just like, I can't live like this. And to have been in that position, and this is what led me to this point in my life where I studied, biochemistry, and I'm like, I can help other people because I myself am a product of what I'm preaching. And how many people are suffering, and migraines and headaches, that's a neuropsychiatric disorder. So that's mental health because it's all neurological, misfiring spark plugs. And a lot of people are getting headaches because they're not being fed the cannabinoids that are supposed to be naturally occurring in our foods. But you have companies like Monsanto, right? That's just one
Hmm.
of many companies. Everyone's just familiar with that one, but there are bigger companies than Monsanto that bastardize our crops. They genetically modify it so it becomes empty calories. There's no nutritional value, meaning they're not pulling out the cannabinoids that's in the apple, that's in our fruits, that's in mangoes. Cannabinoids are in mangoes. It's
Mm,
so it's a power fruit. If you think of power fruits, those power fruits have cannabinoids. It has CBD. The skin of a mango has, THC. There's black pepper has cannabinoids in it. I mean, there's so many. All of our foods are supposed to have it, but then when you're modifying it, we're stripping away all the nutrients, and not just the cannabinoids, we're stripping away all the other medicinal properties as well. So we have a pandemic of neuropsychiatric disorders in this country. And we have America's Band-Aids. Those Band-Aids are sumatriptan, ibuprofen, Prozac, Wellbutrin, Adderall, Vyvanse, Trazodone, oxycodone. You take, corticoid steroid injections. There are people that inject, Botox in their head or in their neck. You're injecting botulism now. I mean, your pain is that bad where you're injecting a neurotoxin into your head. No, that's not the answer.
bad. Now, I want to go to this question here. Mike Chavez, I've known Mike for a long time, and I want to thank you very much, Mike Chavez, for joining us this evening. I know that he's into health and wellness, absolutely
Mm-hmm.
100%. And he says that he was diagnosed with ADHD as a kid, and they put him on Ritalin as a kid, and it wasn't a good experience. And there's so many of our children that seem to be diagnosed with ADHD, uh, and they can't focus or stay on
16
task.
million, 60
16 million.
million children
Now,
are
I
on
know that there's a solution to this.
attention deficit disorder medications like Ritalin, Vyvanse, and Adderall. And I tell people, do you know who the number one? I was just having this conversation with a dear friend of mine, Leah Lang. She's a nurse practitioner, and another nurse practitioner she was introducing me to, Mary. And she knew the answer. She goes, yeah, Hitler was the number one abuser of Adderall. This is who was doing the clinical trials on the Jews in the concentration camp, and he himself abused it. You're talking about legal cocaine. It is the mirror image of cocaine.
Oh, cocaine, because I was just told.
Mommies, think about that. You are giving your kids cocaine.
Now,
Why would you do that? So if you want to raise a psychopath, because that's what you're doing, you're damaging the prefrontal cortex of the brain. You're damaging the basal ganglia. You're damaging the regions of your brain that control mood. So now you're inducing psychosis. The number one side effect for Adderall and Ritalin is mania. What do manic people do? When someone's a maniac, when I say, oh my gosh, Stephen, you're a maniac, like what you run, because that person could like
hurt you.
Yeah, right. And then look at these things that are happening in school, the stabbings, the violence. But how many children are on Adderall and Ritalin? It's dumbing them down. It's making them become introverted as opposed to letting children go outside. If your kid is hyper, put him outside, put him in a sport, wear him out. I wear my kids out. Like I did 4 miles with my 5-year-old just to wear her out so she could take a nap the other day. And then I give her CBD to calm her down, to de-excite those neurons because she's so hyper. Our bodies are designed to go do things, to dance, to run, to play a sport. And I mean, we work in offices in the United States. We don't take breaks. We work 8 to 14-hour shifts. We're sitting at a desk a majority of the time, or we're standing behind a computer. I mean, our bodies are not being used properly. So you have to go, go out, play tennis, go for a walk, go for an hour walk.
Exercise.
And exercise. And attention deficit disorder in children. I work with a company called Neuroscience, and it's just a group of doctors that have dedicated their lives to balancing out brain chemistry in children. And it's amino acid related. It's nutrition related.
Here we go.
But what's being bombarded? What's in our faces on a daily basis? Fast food, McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell. And if we're working all day long, my gosh, I have 4 children. I'm exhausted. I force myself to cook, but not all mommies are like that. At one time, I'm like, oh, let's just stop and get some fast food. It's just so much easier, right? Quick, go through a window, pay your $20. You get the $2, 2 for 2.
It's convenience.
It's convenience.
Yeah.
But look what it's doing. We're depriving ourselves of nourishment. We need to nourish our body. We need to feed our brain. Feed our brain, not the psychiatric disorder. Feed our brain, not the cancer, right? Our brains need good fats. Our brains need cannabinoids. Our brain needs amino acids and proteins. It's a muscle, and it is the most vital organ. Without your mind, put me out of my misery. If I don't have my mind, who am I? I can't think, right? I can't tap into the Almighty. I can't pray. I can't meditate. I'll be in a nursing home. Who wants that? What kind of quality of life is that? It is our job. It is our moral duty, I believe, to take care of one another and to encourage one another to take care of our brains, our minds. The most beautiful. This is our mega dashboard, our ship, right?
And we need to take care of it. Exactly.
We got to take care of it. Right.
I agree 100%. And so it is about bringing up the awareness level of that taking a pill, like you say, that's a Band-Aid for boo-boos. That's not necessarily the answer. I know, because it's clear to me that there's a solution for every situation, health-wise, that someone might experience. Like that's what we talked about last week. Is this brain fog, and how you can prevent Parkinson's, and you can prevent dementia. And a lot of it, like you said, had to do with the diet. Now, I want to back up for half a second, because you said chocolate, and that I love sweets.
Chocolate that's over 70% cacao. You want to make sure it's over 70%. I prefer higher. I like 90%, 100%. I make a protein powder called Active HGH. and it's 100% cacao. It is so delicious. And I'll mix it with yogurt, organic yogurt, non-GMO yogurt, and I'll put my favorite juice in there, coconut milk. It's so good. What a treat. But
That
I'm
is
feeding my
awesome.
brain. Yes. And I'm like, oh, and you feel so much better when you're feeding your brain the fuel that it needs to think and convert all of those, neurons, those chemical neurons, those neurosynaptic nerve endings are firing and charging because it's got what it needs in its tool, box. And it is. I'll feel, like I'm dragging if I don't feed my brain my fatty acids and my amino acids and my cannabinoids. And you don't always need it. It's just like drinking water. Once you drink it, you have to wait till your body gets depleted of it. And then you replenish again, right? I've
Hmm.
taken the water during the whole time. And I'm guilty of that sometimes. I get so busy with my life, I forget to hydrate. And I'm like, why do I have a headache? And I'm like, oh, I haven't drank any water. And if I still have the headache, then I go to, okay, let me see, maybe I'm deficient in cannabinoids, and I take that full spectrum CBD oil. If I'm getting a migraine or during that time of the month, women, you know what I'm talking about. Those cycles are debilitating sometimes when your lining of your uterus is shedding once a month and you're losing all that iron and all of your nutrients, your magnesium, your vitamin D. It's not fun. So during that time, you have to up your vitamin D. You have to up your liquids. You have to take more of the cannabinoids. You have to take some extra progesterone to prevent from getting a period headache or a period migraine. So you're being
I was
preventative.
I was probably dealing with dehydration is going to be what I was thinking the other day, maybe because sometimes I will forget to drink water too as well, and it's been very hot, and like today is like I think the most humid day in this year is quite humid today. Um,
Mhm.
and that kind of brings me to another question here that I'd like to bring up for you. You can go ahead. I'm going to bring up Carolyn Brown's question, and I know that this can create anxiety, obviously, because of our health, and so maybe you can answer this question
Oh,
for us.
why does the human body swell when there's a lot of humidity in the air with swollen feet? Okay, that is definitely an easy one because when there's humidity, you're sweating. So all of your minerals, all of your electrolytes are coming out of your skins, coming out of your pores, right? So then you have blood vessels that expand and they dilate. So body fluid moves into the hands and they move into the legs because of the change in the barometric pressure and the change in the electrolytes that your body is losing. So your body's almost going into like a starvation mode, but for water. Your body will retain water when
Okay.
you're not giving it enough water. You see how that works? And your body will retain fat when you're not giving it enough food. So it's the same thing, it goes into starvation mode. So when you know that the weather is going to change and there's going to be a lot of humidity, you have to make sure you're drinking a lot of mineral water, water that's being alkalined, and then you're not going to get that swelling. But you do have heat edema is what it's called.
Heat edema.
Heat
Uh,
edema. So where you're
Now,
swelling,
the
swelling of
CB
the face, swelling of the feet, swelling of the paw. I've had heat
yeah.
edema before. I'm like, give me some water. You
Now
get puffy.
CBD can help with that. Is that correct?
Yeah, CBD does have a good amount of electrolytes and minerals. So you can add some CBD oil into your water while you're drinking it to help you out because it helps with your blood vessels, the dilation.
And I'm just going to pop this one up here. George has got a question.
Mhm.
He wants to know about the side effects of any of the CBD oil. Is there any side
Well,
effects? I mean, well, obviously some serious health benefits, right?
yeah, but most of the side effects with cannabinoids comes from THC. Now, there's only benefits with CBD oil. It does increase your metabolism, so I tell people it's like rebooting, your energy reserves where your body's so used to not having energy. Some people will get ultra common and it's healing. It's reducing a cytokine storm. So for some people, initially, especially if their body needs to shut down and replug, just like a phone would need to recharge in a wall, the CBD can make them sleepy. So I always tell people take your first dose when you're at home and engage yourself, and then take another dose and find your threshold. So I like patient autonomy when it comes to cannabinoids because like I said, you can overdose on it, but if it makes you sleepy, you don't want to be driving a car, right? I've had people that came in and just did CBD by itself. I've done a bunch of YouTube, the CBD challenge,
I
and
saw
they'll
that.
come in, yeah, and it's like they said, a lot of people describe it as this euphoric feeling where you're not high, but you feel so calm, but you're able to focus and think. Now, if you have a lot of neurological disorders and your body needs to reboot, it will make you sleepy. I've experienced that before where my CBD converted into THC at a convention, and I ended up having to present in front of people, and I had cotton mouth as if I smoked a joint. And I said, "Oh, I only talked about those side effects before." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." I was extra giggly, which is not a bad thing, but I
Right.
kept apologizing to my audience going, I'm always giggly to begin with, but I think I was a bit giggly than normal.
Now, I know for myself, I'm taking it first thing in the morning, and you
Mhm,
had warned me about that. Okay, it could make me a little bit drowsy. Just check and
mhm,
see how that goes, because I do want to focus. Absolutely, that's really super important to me.
mhm.
Um, and I can remember when I was a kid and I smoked weed, and yeah, it was not easy to focus when you were doing that. It's like, wow. So I didn't want that kind of effect, but I didn't feel drowsy personally, and maybe that's because of my timing. Maybe it's because it was first thing in the morning. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
But what I do know is that I think that is working much better than the tablets for me, and so that
Yeah,
was a really good recommendation. Um, Awesome. So there's a
I
lot of
recommend it for sleep. The full spectrum
for
I
sleep.
recommend for sleep. Yep. So you
Tell
can do
tell
it.
us now, because not all CBD is made equal. I know this. You educated me about that. It's not all the same stuff. There's some stuff with fillers in it.
Oh,
The actual strength can vary dramatically. It's not necessarily, oh, this is only $10, so it's a really great deal. I got to get that, and then you get it, and it doesn't even do anything for you. Educate us about the differences, the milligrams. Like this one here is the 66 is what I have.
oh, you got a good strength. 66 milligrams. So you got a
Yes.
30 ml. That's a really good strength. Yeah, but the FDA went around testing different products, and you can go straight to their website and you can see companies that were supposed to be good companies. The
Mhm.
FDA went and grabbed products. They do that with me. I'm a regulated facility, and they're just now really regulating it. The Department of Agriculture will go to different facilities and just grab their products and test them just to make sure where you get it, who's making it, where's your certificate of analysis. A lot of people are carrying products that don't have certificate of analysis, meaning, they call them a COA in the pharmaceutical space, where is this what it says is in the label? Is this what it is? How do you know? If there's no regulatory forces around that, preventing people just watering down CBD just to sell and make a little bit more money, and that happens out there. I hate to say it, I mean, 90% of nutraceuticals aren't regulated. The ingredients are, but there's nobody, overlooking. So this is why that CGMP certification is so important, making sure
Mhm.
that your product is made in a facility that is
Mhm.
regulated,
Mhm.
where you're being held accountable
Right here,
for
folks.
what you're giving to the consumer. Yep, see, it's a
Yeah,
CGMP certified on
yeah, it's
there.
right here.
Good, which stands for good
Let me get
manufacturing
that right.
process. It costs
Yeah,
money to get those certifications.
yeah.
The patient now can say, "Oh, that would be like." I mean, there's people out there that sell pharmaceutical drugs without a pharmacy license, right? Would you buy
Apparently,
it on the street? No. How do you know what you're getting is, right? I mean, you
that's
hear
right.
the horror stories out there. And boy, I mean, that would be a great reality TV show, especially in the cannabis space. I mean, I've visited facilities, when this was first coming out. I mean, people making stuff out of their campers, you
Yeah.
know. I'm like, "Oh my."
Well,
Not
and
gonna
that's the
judge.
important factor, and we want everybody to know now. Now you compound this stuff right here in Sarasota, Florida. You've got a pharmacy right down on Main Street.
Mhm,
All you got a diverse selection of products. We have several of them on our website right now. We're going to
mhm,
have a lot more soon, because we want to help people get the right stuff. But that's the difference. I mean,
Hmm.
you're the person that's, I mean, these other companies are buying your product and putting it on their shelf. And
I do a
so,
lot of white labeling. Yep. I
yeah,
love doing that, especially someone that wants to open up a new company. And it's such a hot item right now, cannabinoids
hmm
and animals and uh, the elderly for neurogenesis. I mean, someone that has uh, loved ones that have Alzheimer's and dementia, all of the clinical trials that are being done with cannabinoids and neurogenesis, meaning it's reviving brain cells,
wow.
reviving brain cells. So someone's memory improving and they're re-establishing good, brain cells that helps them to recover memories. That's huge.
Here comes the testimony. And this is a real testimony. And it's me. Because you know what? I have been taking these things for several months now. And I would say that my memory is getting much better. I can remember things that, no, I'm seriously, it would be very difficult. Just for instance, like, you get these codes sometimes to, for two-step verification to get into your email or whatever you're doing.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of times I'd be back and forth and what's the number unless I had written it down or something. And now I can look at this and I can just plug it back into the other side and switch between. And it's like, so I can see there's clearly a difference. I'm taking the probiotics. I got the prescription probiotics in the fridge. I'm
Hmm.
doing that. I'm taking the aroma dim and I'm taking the CBD tincture now, and it's making a difference. I can tell you that I can honestly say this works and it's good.
Hmm.
Thank you, Dr. Jenny. I'm so
Oh, of
glad.
course.
Yeah.
My heart is leaping for joy. Can you see? It's like my smile won't end.
It's so awesome. I know it's just
That's what
great.
this is all about. And it's like, I have the coolest job because you deserve it. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to be able to remember things. And we've all been there. I use that example. I remember my postpartum brain
Yes.
where I would walk into the bathroom, but I really meant to be in the kitchen to go get myself some water. I'm in the bathroom and I forget, what am I doing in here? And I'm not that old, but I
No,
mean, that's,
no.
you have that, but that's a real thing. And then being able to educate women on re-nourish, replenish. I mean, we're like flowers. We're very much like flowers. I use the car analogy a lot, but we're kind of like walking flowers. We require sunlight. We require fertilization, which is food, whole foods, right? With real nutrients and medicinal properties. And we require, what's the other one? So sunlight and water. We
Sunlight and
need to be
water.
watered, right? So there's
Exactly.
the three different things.
The
And
sunlight is the sunlight vitamin D, is that correct? You're getting vitamin D from the sunlight?
yeah, and vitamin D is a natural terpene. And a terpene, people don't usually call it that, but that's vitamin
What?
D helps you produce another terpene that's called melatonin. Not
Okay.
melatonin, melanin. Melatonin's
Okay.
in the brain, but melanin is what prevents us from getting sunburn. And I went through that. I mean, after having, children, I was so depleted. I was like a vampire. My levels were a number 7, which if you've ever seen the reference ranges for vitamin D at
Okay.
7, I mean, any lower, I probably would have been dead.
No.
But my bones hurt, my muscles hurt, and I was just so tired, and I had to drag myself to spend time with my children, my family. I did my own panels, and then once I started doing my vitamin D shots, whoop, I was like Supergirl again. I got my crown back. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to conquer the world. And that's really what my customers tell me too. They're like, Dr. Jenny, you made me more money. I'm like, oh, how so? My memory's improved. My love life's improved. I feel like Superman again. I'm like, that is the most amazing thing. Thank you so
It-
much. And I did. I feel like Supergirl again after I replenish myself. But yeah, and not being able to tan, I mean, that's not fun because I'm Latina. I love my brown color. And when I look pasty because I don't have enough melanin because I'm deficient in vitamin D, right? Because I work indoors and then you get depressed and you don't want to go outside. I mean, there's different factors. So It really is. Vitamin D is huge too for mental health, for anxiety, for depression, and cannabinoid CBD helps you to absorb your vitamin D better. It actually helps you absorb it even more so than K2. When you hear vitamin D3 with K2, they need to be together. But if you add that cannabinoids to it, your vitamins are being absorbed and they're being better utilized. So everybody should be taking a minimum of 20 milligrams of CBD a day just to feed their brain and just to make sure their body's absorbing their nutrients from their food.
That's the important factor, that our bodies are actually taking it in, because I know that a lot of other nutrients, you just kind of run through you, so to say, and you're not getting much value out of this. So that's excellent, excellent information.
Yeah.
I'd really like
I
to
have
go.
a good question here by Mike
Oh,
Meyer that I
okay,
saw
let's
just
do
pop
that.
up. Unless you go first. You have
Okay, we'll go to Mike Meyer. We'll get with you in just 1 minute. I did want to address this because I know that there's a lot of people out there, particularly right now, right after Memorial Day, all of our veterans that are still with us, they may have lost their friends in battle in the past. We've got families out there that are suffering. We got people that suffer from traumatic situations. Emmanuel's asking us about how CBD works for someone who has PTSD. Dr. Jenny, tell us about that, because there's so many people that suffer from that out there. And I'm thinking you can overcome this, can you not?
Yes, absolutely. And CBD by itself is recommended for PTSD without the THC. So anybody with PTSD should be taking CBD, high dose CBD, as opposed to all of these other toxic psych medications that doctors are prescribing for their PTSD. And then CBD with a combination of neurofeedback, like going to a brainwave center in your area. There's several places that offer brainwave, meaning they're measuring the amounts of, the different types of matter within your brain, like your alpha, your delta, your theta, your gamma, all of that. And then they exercise your brain like a muscle by having you watch TV. And they put a helmet on you that measures your negative neurofeedback. And a lot of people with PTSD is from trauma, right? And it's constant negative neurofeedback, like you said, battles, wars, serving in the military, abusive relationships, abusive childhoods, abusive. It's, you just think of what can cause negativity in someone's life. It's constant negativity, constant, and that causes anxiety, relational PTSD. I had that for a time. Was like, I didn't want to see a man I didn't want anybody. No man. Stay away. Who are you? What do you want? What do you want from me? What's your angle? So you gotta get back into that. You gotta exercise your brain to remind you, not everybody on the planet out to get you, and you have that. You have panic attacks and you have triggers, and people will have outbursts of anger or emotional swings. And I mean, my heart breaks for those people that are out there, because I mean, it's a real, especially our vets, our Marines, some of the most, messed up neurological clients that I have had referred over to me are my Marines. I mean, it's like they're being trained to be killers, and then they're done serving. And then someone like me has to reverse all of that negative training that they've had. So taking CBD, I would recommend 75 milligrams every 4 hours for PTSD until the body reaches its threshold. And then titrating, meaning you're dropping down in your dose after a couple of weeks of that dose, dropping down to 50 milligrams till eventually you get down to 20 milligrams. Because like I said, the more CBD you use, the less you need, because it is fat soluble. So you want to replenish and refuel that tank, and then titrate slowly down.
That does bring us to Mike's question about recommendation for CBD quantity and frequency for memory enhancement and rebuilding.
Yep. So for memory, I recommend a full spectrum cannabinoids, because you need that neurogenesis that also comes from taking a small amount of THC. So I would do either 3,000 or 4,000 milligram full spectrum oil I think that would be the best because it's immediate. It's underneath the tongue. So that oral mucosa is such a fabulous way to deliver something to the brain. Your body has all of the nerve endings neurologically, or even behind the neck, a cream, a topical cream, a full spectrum topical cream that you can apply on the back of the neck, which is great for anybody that has difficulty opening up their mouth. You just never know. You have elderly people that, are so tight and you can't open up their mouths because of a neurological disorder. So then you're applying that cream on the back of their neck and it's sending a signal to the brain stem, and that brain stem is controlling all of those trigeminal nerve endings in the face, everywhere. That's helping someone with their memory, with their mood, with their pain. But for memory, for neurogenesis, I recommend a full spectrum CBD oil, which means it has all of the cannabinoids. So you're getting that entourage effect. And it just needs 3 milligrams of that THC in there. So full spectrum means it has the maximum amount allowed to be sold over the counter by, the regulators, the FDA, the Board of Pharmacy, yada yada. So
you're regulated, and these products are available. We've got some of them because that's one of the questions: is where can you get it? We do have it on the website, the LWN Foundation, and Dr. Jenny also has a wide variety of choices as well on her website, and agevital.com. And I'm going to say that I highly recommend these products, and that's the reason why. I mean, I knew that it was good products to begin with. Now I'm just learning the education about what and why I'm supposed to be using them and learning all that medical stuff. And I'm just so blessed that we're able to bring this kind of information. I'm going to remind everybody, if you haven't shared this video out, make sure to do that. Make sure to go to our Facebook page, like our Facebook page. Send us a friend request if you want to get to know us. We'd love to get to know you better as well. We want to help you with your health and wellness needs. That's what this is, Health and Wellness Wednesday. We're taking questions.
Make sure you give them your website so they know where to get the CBD.
Yeah, I can do that.
There's several viewers right now looking for good CBD products. Yep.
I'll let you go talking then and pick a question. I'll pop it up so that we can acknowledge that viewer in a little bit. We really appreciate everybody. We'll put several of the comments up in just a moment. Will you see a question that you'd like to? We can back up on Wolfie Smith's question a little bit about birth control. And actually, that's a great question, I think, to be honest. We can get to that one later. I'll pop in the website.
Let's see, where's the I'm looking for the question.
Wolfie Smith was asking, what is a more natural way other than birth control, if anything, to help females during that time of month? So you were talking earlier about periods and menstruating, and you're losing clearly iron and a lot of other of the minerals that are in your body, and they're dealing with pain.
Yep, and CBD is available, believe it or not, in suppository form. But you don't have to take it as a suppository. But there are companies that make tampons that are natural. They're actually made out of cannabis, and they have CBD. They have 50 milligrams to 100 milligrams. They can use that. So that CBD is going into the lining, and it's a better alternative than taking ibuprofen. I take CBD capsules during that time of the month. Knowing, on my heavy days, if I'm a heavy cramper. And another thing that I recommend is having your doctor write for progesterone capsules combined with CBD that you take specifically on those menstruation days, where it's going to get rid of the bloating. It's going to get rid of your lower back pain. It's going to get rid of your, severe pain and cramping, because the CBD is anti-inflammatory. And then the progesterone helps to reduce the amount of estrogen that your body's producing during your menstrual cycle. So 2 ingredients combined together, changes a female's life. And it helps you sleep.
Okay. And I also going to mention this too. I'm going to go to another question here, Carolyn Brown, but I also want to talk about the fact you've got products as well. And I was like shocked because our next door neighbor, I noticed that his dog was hurting. It was kind of crippled. Like it was old. It's older, he's kind of dragging around his back legs and stuff. And then all of a sudden, I see this darn little dog out there running, kind of not running full blast, but this dog is moving around so much better. And I go, what is going on here? What's going on? This dog looks great. I'm so happy for you. We're feeding the dog CBD, and
Ah,
it's getting better.
you fed him the oil?
I didn't. They did. So veterinarians clearly are recommending this stuff as well because
Oh
it's for
yeah.
your pets too.
It is. I make them into Scooby snacks. I make
Scooby snacks.
chewable. Yep. I make them. I put a little bit of CBD in the multivitamin
Hmm.
for dogs, for cats, for horses, for ferrets. So I have formulas for a majority of animals because they have an endocannabinoid system too. And I have so many testimonies. One of these days we have to get some of these testimonies on air with us.
Yes.
I mean, I've had customers that were about to put their best friend, because their animal becomes your best friend, it becomes part of your family, and they're going to put them to sleep. To me, that's so. Why would you do that? Just because their body's not working doesn't mean just the same thing. If it doesn't work, don't just rip it out or put it out of its misery. Figure out why that animal's in pain. So I had a customer that came in and she was crying. She was picking up her script. I'm like, you look so sad. What's going on? And she says, I have to put my dog to sleep. He hasn't eaten in a week. And my vet says we have to put him to sleep. I was like, no, no, no. Let me talk to your vet. What's going on? He's not eating. He's obviously in pain, but nothing's working. She said, we did the injections, we did other things. And I said, take the CBD, give him 30 milligrams every couple of hours. And she did what I told her to do. And within a 24-hour period, that dog was eating and no longer shaking and trembling and I actually have videos even on my YouTube channel. I have a video on my YouTube channel of brand new little puppies. I forget what type of little Boston Terriers, little tiny little Boston Terriers. And the vet called me in Tampa. She's like, you were referred to me by another doctor. And she says, you're a cannabis provider, but she said if anybody was going to save the lives of my little puppies that were born premature, it would be you. Same type of incidents. They weren't latching. The mother died. The dog, the puppy's mother's passed away because she delivered prematurely. So they didn't have the mother to breastfeed off of, but they kept trying to do goat milk. The vet was doing goat milk and they weren't latching on. They were just sleepy and lethargic. But cannabinoids are in our breast milk naturally. One of the highest contents of cannabinoids for THC specifically is in our breast milk. This is why it's so important to breastfeed. And how many women don't breastfeed? They're depriving their newborn of that, first initial contact with that colostrum that has this massive amount of THC that activates the pineal gland and tells you, I'm alive, eat, thrive. That's what triggers the baby to suck and live. Without that THC, those babies are not going to have the munchies. And that is, look how wonderful life is, creation. So I made a little formula for the puppies that included a full spectrum CBD oil. And I put a few different other amino acids in there, like the branching amino acids for brain support. And I filled it with a honey solution, Manuka honey. And so we put it in syringes. And I went up there. It was 12 o'clock at night. I'm in my pajamas meeting this vet in her office. And we're doing little droplets. And these little babies, I mean, they went from looking for a boob. It was the cutest thing. And they were half a pound each, Stephen. They were so cute. I have to find that video,
That is awesome. And
Yes.
yeah,
And
you're
they were
right.
yipping. And oh my gosh, so we had to get the goat's milk so they can start eating. But I saved those little puppies' lives. Cannabis saved the life of newborn puppies.
That is so awesome. That
Right.
is so
And in
awesome.
women, I encourage you to breastfeed. If you're not breastfeeding, you're really depriving your child. Your breast milk has 191 amino acids. When you're giving your child formula that has synthetic sugars and it only has 9 amino acids, 9, no cannabinoids in that formula. There's no cannabinoids. But when you're giving that breast milk, they're getting all the cannabinoids, they're getting all the enzymes, they're getting all your electrolytes, they're getting
Everything.
all those amino acids, and they're getting all those cannabinoids. And your breast milk changes as the baby grows. How does your formula change?
don't know. Carolyn's asking if you can give a 3-year-old CBD oil, and how much would you give a
Absolutely.
3-year-old?
Absolutely. I would do 5 milligrams to 10 milligrams for a 3-year-old. So it depends on what that 3-year-old is, what types of symptoms does that 3-year-old have. And I would just do plain CBD oil. So THC free CBD oil it has all the other cannabinoids. So it's a broad spectrum, not a full spectrum. So there's a difference between full spectrum and broad spectrum. So you want to get it'll say THC free. And I do make the THC free because you don't want to give children THC. Their neurological chemical pathways are already super accelerated. I mean, you're talking about massive super learners, super synthesizers. They see everything and they're sponges. They watch everything. Watching a little kid is the most amazing, thing for me to watch because you're looking at everything. Especially little babies are like, everything is, wow, life is so beautiful, and we lose that as adults, they're like, oh, it's a tree. The kids look at it and be like, oh, wow,
I
everything is
don't
so
know.
exciting, right? But
Call me a
CBD
little
for
kid then, because I
children
love
just
trees.
feeds their little brains, right?
Yeah.
It feeds their little brains. It gives them nourishment. So 5 milligrams for a 3-year-old. If they're sick and they have a fever, I would go a little bit higher and do 15 milligrams of CBD because CBD gets rid of fevers in combination with melatonin. So lots of medicinal properties. Look how functional this one molecule is that God created to be in our foods.
It's
I give
also
CBD to
healthy.
my children pretty
Right.
much on a daily basis.
You had mentioned that, and I remember seeing years ago that they were proving, and this is where I think kind of got the ball rolling with the CBD, was it helps with, oh gosh, now I'm going to lack the word, um, for, I'm not going to get the word, darn you.
You
Stephen
better
wants
put some of that oil in underneath your mouth
I
right
need some more of
now.
this right now, right?
Yes.
I had it a moment ago. Um, it's not anxiety attacks. It's people have
Panic attacks,
not panic attacks. It was originally founded because it was
PTSD.
nope. Steven's not getting it this second. I mean, I had it there, but I think I need some more of this so I can not forget that type of stuff. I got a couple of things rolling in my head. Um,
ADHD.
No, it wasn't ADHD. It's like if a person has an attack and then they fall on the floor and they're having spasm and stuff like this. I'm trying to remember what that's called. I'm just not getting it. So that's okay, folks. Even me taking the CDB can sometimes forget. They call that sometimers disease, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'd love to go to this question too. Abigail has a question. Um, and I'm going to try and remember that term that I was thinking of, but the bottom line is that it can help you in a lot of different ways. But we're wanting to know for Abigail about cerebral palsy, and she suffers from tight neck, or I guess it sounds like her husband. He can't relax,
Mm-hmm.
and he
I have
would
lots
never
of
know what
patients
to
with
ask
cerebral
for.
palsy. Yep.
And so, what do you add to the skin? I think that you got this also in a cream. Is that correct as well?
Mm-hmm. I would give it in a cream form, and we do have that, and they can apply it. But you can also get the oil in the mouth of your patient. I have several children, and I have several fathers here that have children with cerebral palsy and wheelchair. And they said ever since they started a CBD regimen, their their children wake up super stiff in the morning, and just to get their clothes on or to wash them is such a challenge. But after introducing CBD oil into their lifestyle before bed, upon rising, they wake up and they're more relaxed and they're able to move and they're even more engaging. So I would recommend that a full spectrum CBD oil for cerebral palsy. So it has to have a little bit of THC, and there's lots of studies out there, and you're going to be doing a higher dose. So anywhere from 75 milligrams to 100 milligrams every few hours. So every 4 hours is what's recommended. And then again, you titrate down as you're seeing improvements within that person. Yep.
So I'm going to go through a couple things here. Thank you, Abigail. Well, epilepsy, I want to back up for a second. Seizures, yes, Yvonne. That's the word I was looking for, of course. I wrote it down here and then I said, okay, yeah, seizures. Yeah, it helps with seizures as well. And so it's really helping a lot of young kids as well. We've got a couple requests
Look at
about
Charlotte's Web, and poor
epilepsy.
dear little Charlotte, who, was such a big part of the movement. I mean, she just passed away during this COVID period, and she's the one that really made full spectrum CBD very popular, because her parents fought to be able to, because she had Dravet syndrome, which is the most debilitating forms of seizures that anybody can have. I mean, she was having seizures every 10 minutes, and they were the most violent ones. And she was a 4-year-old little girl, and cannabis changed her life, and she was, a different girl after taking it. Went from every 10 to 15 minutes having seizures to no seizures at all.
It's a miracle. I'm going to address this. I'm also going to say this. I'm just going to say it because it just seemed like when I was a kid, and yes, I was smoking weed when I was a teenager. I did it. I don't have a problem mentioning that. That's not an issue to me. But what I do remember saying is that, gosh, it just seems to me to make sense that the government would get involved in this. And my statement would be the government still says no. I saw a question in there. We'll want to get back to that probably after the show about, can you sell it into other states, even though it's illegal in that state? So there's your answer about that. You can sell it into other states, even if it's not legal yet. But
well, CBD is legal in all 50 states right now. So
it is legal in all 50 states now.
CBD is. THC is not legal in all 50 states, and each state has their own regulations, which is so ridiculous because, I see the battle between this because, number one, the United States government has the patent for cannabis. So if it has no medicinal properties, why do they own the patent? Think about that. Don't want to start controversy here. You know me.
Right. So clearly the government is holding back, but the states aren't. They're recognizing, and the medical community is not, and they're recognizing that this is got great benefits. And that's why we wanted to talk about this evening. We really did. And I'll pop Isaac's question back up real quick. Is it recommended for someone with cirrhosis of the liver? So, your liver's failing. I know that your liver cells can regenerate.
Absolutely.
My understanding. And we talked earlier about how your brain cells can regenerate because you're using CBD. So it can help liver disease.
In combination, cirrhosis of the liver in combination with glutathione, CBD. There's lots of studies because CBD is an antioxidant. So you're regenerating, it's cellularly enhancing. And that's really what you want when, doing regenerative medicine. Is like, what substances regenerate cells in your body? And CBD is one of those substances. So taking an oil, or even doing suppositories, because you're kind of getting closer to the source. So rectal suppositories are very popular with a lot of my doctors. They like that, and their patients like that. And taking a daily dose of that, but combining it with other powerful antioxidants. So antioxidants like glutathione, CoQ10, vitamin D. So I recommend doing a glutathione injection right before you go to bed, and then doing a CBD drop. So doing at least 50 milligrams of CBD right before you go to bed, and continuing that therapy, throughout the day, waking up and doing another 50 milligrams, but doing weekly glutathione injections. I've had great success with people with liver issues, that people in dialysis that no longer were in dialysis after they did that regimen, but CBD helps modulate that glutathione, and that glutathione is a master antioxidant, if not the most powerful antioxidant. I mean, it goes straight to the cells and stops free radical damage. It replenishes, and it's so great for your skin. But yeah, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So glutathione, which is spelled GLUTHIONE, glutathione is very powerful for cirrhosis of the liver.
And what I want our viewers to know, we're kind of running down on time. We ran over it, but that's okay. This is so important. I know that we need to come back. We need to address this again for everybody and educate about this CBD. You can get them on our website, www.lwnfoundation.org. But what I also want to say too is that Dr. Jenny can make something specific for you. We want you to know that no matter what your situation is, Dr. Jenny can have an answer for your health situations, whether it's a mental health, whether it's, we talked about periods and your menstruation, brain fog. I mean, she's got an answer. It's all natural. It's the best product to me in the universe. And so is Dr. Jenny. And I really appreciate you for taking time to come and share your thoughts and your wisdom with us this evening. And so, Dr. Jenny, so reach out to us, send us a direct message. You can certainly contact Age Vital as well. And
941, yep, or
just
toll
make sure,
free.
yeah, tell them we sent you. Do me that favor, because we want to know that you saw it here. That's important to us, so we can get feedback there as well. We need to know. Go ahead and tell them how they can reach you to directly there.
Yep, 941-388-0800 is the local line if you live here on the west coast of Florida, or you can call 888-388-7237, which is the toll free, or just go to the website, www.agevital.com. That's AGEVITAL.com, Age Vital, because aging is vital for your health, right? And I have consult forms right there, and a telemedicine platform to go ahead. There's my logo. Bam, that was huge.
That's huge. I was not going to do that huge. I was going to change it in the corner. There we are.
Yep. Yeah, and I want to help you, and so do my other practitioners, my providers, my pharmacists. I have other, doctors that work for me, and my health coaches are ready to answer any of your questions and help you live the best possible, life that you can here right now, because you're worth it. Your health is worth it, and protecting your mind is a beautiful thing, and preventing disease is a beautiful thing, and getting you off of those toxic medications that are making you worse is, our goal, making you sure that you're off of those medications and living functional. So sticking to the biochemical individuality of your body.
There we go. I'm doing it. It's working for me. We want you to have the best you can possibly be. That's what it is all about. It is all about being happy, enjoying life. And I know that if you take care of your body, you can start really enjoying life, and everybody around benefits. It's such a great thing. We want to thank everybody that's taken time to come and join us this evening. Remember to join us again next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be back. We appreciate all the comments. We'll make sure to go back, address those comments for you. We'll look forward to having you come back. Remember to tell your friends, watch this video. There was a lot of information. Go ahead. I love it. You can take us out there, Dr. Jenny. And thank you. I'll just say thank you. And Dr. Jenny will take us out. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. As always, I hope to see you guys next Wednesday. And we're always going to have a dynamic topic. And I can't believe how fast an hour goes. And as always, intention is everything. Smile, even if you have to fake it till you make it. Intentionally give good compliments to one another. Intentionally try to be a light in someone's life, whether it's giving them a compliment, opening up a door. And, the law of attraction, you give, this is physics, right? You're going to get what you put out. And you're going to be producing, when you're smiling, you produce oxytocin. When you're giving someone a hug, you're producing oxytocin. These are hormones that make you feel good, and it makes somebody else feel good too. And who doesn't need another, dose of feel good, right? And you want that because it's therapeutic, number one, and it's good for your health. So go out and be a light to somebody's life, and just hold back any animosity that you have. Pray for your enemies and bless those who persecute you. It's hard, I know, but in the end, you're going to be getting the biggest reward. I promise you, you will.
I couldn't have said it better. That's so awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful Wednesday evening. I'll be back tomorrow morning about 6:20 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll welcome a
Woohoo.
brand new day. We'll make a connection to nature. We'll make a connection to community. That is you, and we appreciate you. Have a great evening, and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll see
Bye.
y'all soon. Bye-bye.